Whoa, hold on to your terrible towels, because there's some serious breaking news straight out of the Steel City. The kind of news that makes you slam your beer down and pay attention. This isn't just media fluff. This is the real deal, the kind of locker room talk that goes straight to the heart of the black and gold nation. You think you've seen it all with the steel curtain? Think again. There's always a new twist. And the best part, man, is you're only gonna get this straight talk, unfiltered fan perspective right here. So what do you say? Is there another bombshell dropping today? Before we dive into all this black and gold goodness, let me hit you with that real talk request. This channel is the virtual grandstand for the Steel Nation. This is straight up bar talk, from a fan to a fan. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and drop a comment. Your voice strengthens the City of Steel and keeps the steel curtain alive. Check it out, my friend. The first bombshell of the day involves rookie Will Howard. The kid came in with a ton of hype, a sixth-rounder from Ohio State with nearly 10,000 college yards and plenty of experience, but he's already started on the wrong foot. Or, more accurately, the wrong finger. Talk about bad luck. The guy fractured the pinky on his throwing hand in a simple, meaningless practice drill. There was no way around it. The Pittsburgh Steelers put him on injured reserve before the season even started. That's at least 4 games out, but it could be more, depending on his recovery. Tomlin had already said he was only throwing lightly, with no real contact. And you know the impact of this? It changes the whole depth chart. Rodgers is the guy, Mason Rudolph is still the backup, and Skylar Thompson, who played well in the preseason, gets a boost as QB3. What seemed like a minor detail is now a real dilemma. We wanted to see Howard get into a rhythm and build confidence, but now people are already saying this year is a de facto redshirt season for him. Fans are left wondering, is it better to just preserve him or give him snaps anyway? To be honest with you, I don't think it's worth forcing anything. A throwing hand injury is no joke. The discussion is hot in the nation's fan groups. Some say that losing these practices is a huge setback and that his development will fall behind. Others, more level-headed, are saying, man, it's better to hold him back now and keep the kid whole, because we need a safety net behind Rodgers. And that's exactly it. We're about to open the season against the New York Jets on September 7th. We can't afford to mess around. What stands out to me is the experience Howard brings from college. 50 games, 83 touchdowns, nearly 10,000 yards. His resume isn't lacking. The talent is there. But lost practice time can weigh heavy. Will he truly emerge as an option in 2025? Or will he just be another shelved promise? That's the nagging question. And get this, in the same move, the Steelers also put rookie Dante Kent on injured reserve and brought back veterans like Chuck Clark and Max Sharping to the roster. Experience counts, and Tomlin doesn't like to risk having holes in the roster. So, Howard is out until at least October, and I'm telling you, we wanted to see that arm in action, but now we just have to wait. And hold on, because the next piece of news directly affects the Steel City's running game. Man, talk about a plot twist. Trey Sermon, the running back from Ohio State, was cut on Tuesday and it seemed like a definitive goodbye. But a day later, he's back in black and gold. This is the kind of stuff that only happens with our Steelers. There's always these comings and goings that leave the fan base scratching their heads. Sermon was waived to get the roster down to 53, but since he's a veteran, he didn't have to clear waivers. He was a free agent and could have signed with any team. And what did he do? He came back home to Pittsburgh's practice squad. That shows the guy believes in this project and wants to fight for a spot. And I'm telling you, his preseason was good. He had 10 carries for 50 yards, an average of 5 per attempt. He scored the team's only rushing touchdown during the preseason, and also caught 8 passes for 46 more yards. So, 96 total yards, the third best on the team. It's not mind-blowing, but it's solid production from someone who can be useful. Fans who watched the games saw that he was running with a purpose and looked like he was fighting for a spot on the roster. The key is that he's starting from behind. Today, the official rotation is Jaylen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell, and Caleb Johnson. Sermon would be the fourth, and the franchise doesn't carry 4 running backs on the main roster. That's why he's on the practice squad. He's the kind of player who can be called up at any moment if there's an injury or a drop-off in performance. And with the long and physical season the AFC North demands, you can't doubt that he'll end up getting important snaps. The nation is already commenting that it's better to have this kind of depth than to rely solely on the 3 guys ahead of him. And I agree. Sermon is 26, so he still has gas in the tank. He's been with the Niners, Eagles, and Colts. He didn't shine, but he gained experience. He's racked up 319 yards in 31 games in the NFL so far. He might not be a star, but he's a guy who helps, complements the group, and provides volume. To be honest with you, I think it's a good move to keep him close. He doesn't cost anything on the practice squad and could be very productive in case of an emergency. Plus, Tomlin loves having ready alternatives. The Steelers filled 16 of the 17 practice squad spots with players who were already in training camp. That's continuity. That's confidence in the work that was done in the preseason. So, to sum it up, Sermon left, but he came right back, and the internal battle for a spot is still heated. Now hold on, because the next piece of news hits right on an open wound, the wide receiver situation. Hold up, man, because this one hurt the heart of the Steel Nation. We were hoping that after the final roster cuts, some stray wide receiver would be available to reinforce our passing offense. But it didn't happen. The Steelers were left with virtually no options, and now there's only one card up their sleeve: Kendrick Bourne. Yep, the veteran who asked for his release from the Patriots. 30 years old, 8 seasons in the league, over 100 games. He's no Pro Bowl stud, but he's a guaranteed 500-yard receiver. That might not sound like much, but given the state of our wide receiver room, it's a gift. The guy had his best year in 2021 with 55 catches, 800 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Those are respectable numbers. Not elite, but solid and reliable. To be honest with you, I see it this way. If we have Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball, any extra weapon makes a difference, and Bourne would be that complement. But it's a complicated story. San Francisco, the team that originally drafted him, is also watching. They are depleted by injuries and need bodies, and the familiarity factor weighs in. The fan base here in Pittsburgh is already debating nonstop. Some say, oh, bringing in Bourne doesn't solve anything, we need a real WR2. Others fire back, my man, look at who we have besides DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin III, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller. Is that a Super Bowl offense? No need to answer, right? It's way too thin. Rodgers might be a genius, but he needs more weapons. The problem is exactly that. Bourne is the last real chance, the last gasp on the market for this season. If we don't get him, we're going into the year against the Jets with a receiving core that's scary just to look at. We know the black and gold always finds a way. But let's be real, without a reliable target, the pressure on Metcalf will be insane. And there's also the psychological factor. Bringing in Bourne would show the team that the front office is actually trying to arm Rodgers, that it's not just pretty speeches. If they don't, it leaves a bitter taste of a lack of will. I, Jack Romano, am saying it without hesitation. We have to get this guy, even if it's not a magic solution. In short, there's a sense of urgency. And don't go anywhere, because the next piece of news also talks about a reinforcement, but this time for the heart of the defense. The secondary that was left exposed after the last few moves. Here we go. This is one of those that we knew was coming. The Steelers entered the season carrying only 3 safeties on the initial roster. Deshaun Elliott, Juan Thornhill, and special teams warrior Miles Killebrew. Just 3, can you believe it? There was no way that was going to last. Every true fan knew a move was coming. And it did. Chuck Clark is back in black and gold. This name isn't new. The veteran had already been with us during training camp. He was cut in the final adjustments, but the truth is, Tomlin never wanted to lose his experience. And then, with Will Howard and Dante Kent going to injured reserve, 2 spots opened up. The Steelers didn't hesitate, calling up Clark and also lineman Max Sharping for reinforcement. It's the classic, we saw this coming, but it still provides a sense of relief. Clark has 108 NFL games under his belt. The guy is no slouch. He's coming back from a tough recovery, missing all of 2023 with a torn ACL. Last year, playing for the Jets, he came back and had 69 tackles, 38 solo, plus defended passes and a forced fumble. In other words, he's back and competitive. And if you look further back, to his Baltimore days, the guy was an absolute starter, 4 straight years with over 70 tackles. In 2022, he hit 101. He is pure consistency. To be honest with you, I see this as a classic safety play. Pittsburgh can't mess around with depth in the secondary. Minka is gone, and the responsibility has fallen on Elliott, who is coming off a great season. But without a reliable veteran on his side, we'd be at huge risk. Clark might not be a star, but he's the type who organizes, who reads the play, who doesn't get rattled. The reaction in the virtual stands has been positive. Fans know that the steel curtain is also built with pieces like this, guys who might not show up on the stat sheet as much but hold their own when the front line gives up some ground. The black and gold needs that to maintain its identity. And here's the important detail. Tomlin showed he's not going to bet on youth alone. The mix is clear. Rookies to develop and veterans to hold down the fort. This balance has worked in other moments during the Mike Tomlin era, and it could be decisive this season. So, with Clark back, we can breathe a little easier. It's still not a secondary that strikes fear like back in the Troy Polamalu days, but it's at least reliable. And I'm telling you, a well-armed defense will need to carry some of the weight, because there are still a lot of questions on offense. Hang in there, because the next piece of news is about another target who could show up to help Rodgers unleash his arm. Man, I got chills when I read this one. Tyler Boyd, a product of Clairton and a Pitt legend, made it clear that he would welcome a return home to wear the black and gold. He said publicly during a youth camp that it would absolutely be a dream to play for the Steelers because his whole family is here. Imagine the scene, a packed stadium, the crowd roaring, and the guy playing in front of his own people. It's that kind of connection that only Pittsburgh can offer. The key is that the Steelers are extremely needy at the wide receiver position. We have DK Metcalf, who's a monster, but after that it's Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin III, and Scotty Miller. That's it, my friend. There's no one else who strikes fear into a defense, and Boyd, even at 30 years old, would bring that missing consistency. He's a solid, reliable slot receiver with plenty of experience. The guy has built a career with decent numbers, and even with a dip last year, he's still a player who doesn't mess around. He catches the ball and moves the chains. And there's more. Boyd has known Mike Tomlin for a long time. They have mutual respect, even a friendship. He said they're close, and that could be a factor in any negotiation. To be honest with you, I think this is too natural a fit. The team needs him, the player wants to be here, and the coach approves. All that's left is for the front office not to mess it up. Now, we can't ignore the past grudges. Some players on the roster didn't like it when Boyd criticized the Steelers at one point. That could be a factor in the locker room. The nation is divided. Some say, just bring him in, he's a hometown hero. While others say, be careful, the locker room chemistry could get ugly. But overall, most people are excited about the possibility. And there's a very strong emotional point. The guy coming back to play in the city where he was born after being a local college idol would be a ready-made story. It's Steel City in his DNA. It's living tradition. I'm thinking, if we want to maintain that black and gold identity, there's nothing better than bringing in a guy who's been breathing Pittsburgh since he was a kid. Financially, insiders say it's a 50-50 shot. If the numbers fit, he's in. If not, he could slip away. But honestly, the front office needs to understand that sometimes it's worth investing a little more for an impact that goes beyond the field. It's about the fans. It's about engagement. It's about soul. So, my friend, Tyler Boyd is right there, knocking on the door. The decision is on the table. And if this move is already big, hold on to your seat, because the next piece of news is even more explosive, talking about the future. About a successor to Aaron Rodgers, and the speculation is heavy. Hold on to this, because it's the kind of thing that makes us think beyond the current season. Analysts are already projecting the future of the Steelers without Aaron Rodgers. And the name that's coming up is John Mateer, the quarterback from Oklahoma. A kid who they say has the most powerful arm in the 2026 class. He's a rocket launcher, can throw 60 yards easy in addition to running like a racehorse. 1,000 rushing yards last season. That gets any fan base's attention, especially the Steel Nation, who are used to seeing Ben Roethlisberger solve problems with the strength of his arm. The thing is, Rodgers only has a one-year contract, he'll be 42 in December, and he's already said that this might be his last dance. So the question hits hard. Who's next? CBS Sports has already nailed it. If nothing changes, Pittsburgh will spend a first-round pick on a quarterback. And to be honest with you, there's no arguing with that. It's inevitable. The team needs to think about succession. Now there are nuances. Mateer is promising, but he still needs to prove himself at Oklahoma. If he does well, he'll climb the boards and could even go before the projected 13th pick we're slated to get. And then what? Would the Steelers have to trade up in the draft? That creates a huge debate. The nation is already talking about whether it's worth taking a big swing on a kid or trusting in Will Howard if he comes back healthy. Because there's that, Howard, even with this injury, can still prove himself in the future. But time is against him. I look at this scenario and think, the Steel Curtain has always reinvented itself with strong leaders. From Terry Bradshaw to Big Ben, there has always been a standout name. Rodgers is a short-term solution. He attracts attention and gives the team confidence. But what about after? We can't let there be a vacuum. And Mateer's style, mobile with a cannon arm, is a good fit for the AFC North, where you face heavy defenses and cold weather. It's a profile that appeals. But look, this discussion isn't just about talent, it's about identity. The nation wants to believe that the next franchise quarterback will carry the weight of the history, the black and gold, the three rivers. The wrong choice could set the team back years. The right choice could put Pittsburgh back on top. So, my friend, the debate is on. Rodgers today, Mateer tomorrow, or will another name pop up along the way? Man, after all that, you get a lump in your throat. We've seen a rookie injury, a veteran's return, a backfield reinforcement, a wide receiver dilemma, and even a projection for Rodgers' successor. It's a lot of emotion all at once, which is typical of our Steelers. But you know what's clear? The black and gold is in transition, and only the nation can hold this weight together. So comment below and talk to me, because this virtual grandstand is our home. This is tradition, this is the Steel Curtain, alive and well. And get ready because the next piece of content is coming with even more firepower.